If I was Akiva Goldsman and this was 1997, I'd probably make some joke telling you to chill out or stay cool. But I think we're all above that, aren't we? Let's get started. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Frozen 2 together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Otherwise, I will be frozen in time forever in a really uncompromising, unflattering position, probably like this. And you don't want that. So let's get right to it. Frozen, my favorite movie of 2013, one of my all-time favorite Disney musicals. Great stuff. Loved it to pieces. Couldn't wait for Frozen 2. Now that I've finally seen what is, to my recollection, the very first theatrical sequel to a Disney musical, here's what I have to say. It's a little bit underwhelming. I'm sorry. It's not bad. Not in any stretch of the imagination. It's just underwhelming. And I don't mean that in the sense as a comparison to the first one. You can't keep comparing stuff or you're never going to be happy. I mean, just as a movie itself, it's kind of underwhelming. And here's why. At least here's why I think so. First and foremost, get the comparisons out of your head right away. Frozen 1 is a typical Disney musical fairy tale. That's what you get. If that's what you expect walking into Frozen 2, you will be severely disappointed. Even though it is Disney and animated, and it is a musical still, it doesn't play by the same rules as a Disney musical fairy tale. Best way I can sum it up is an action adventure that happens to also be an animated musical. And it's kind of hard to describe what I mean by that unless you have seen the movie yourself and you understand what I'm talking about. But once you walk out of that theater, I promise you, you will be like, that was a pretty good action-adventure story, but that was not a very good Disney fairy tale story. Speaking of the word story, I think that might be the weakest link in this chain. Because we're still following the same great characters from part 1. We're still following my girl Elsa, who is like my favorite Disney princess of all time, and all her homies. So you've got the same tender love and care that's gone into making these characters. They're just continuing their story. But in terms of the plot of this film, it really leaves a lot to be desired. Elsa begins to hear a strange, otherworldly ghost voice singing to her from across the northern sea. So eventually, when it starts driving her nuts and doing random things to the environment, she decides, okay, I'm going to go follow this ghost voice and find out what it is and what it wants from me. Her friends join her, of course, because they don't want her to go do this dangerous thing alone, and they end up in the enchanted forest that you see here in this poster and in all the trailers. And in the enchanted forest, they meet a bunch of characters, new characters who have been stuck in the forest for over 20 years, and their adventure begins from there. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about those new characters. They introduce a lot of them, and none of them really go anywhere. We get Sterling K. Brown as an Arendelle soldier. We get this cute little fire lizard. We get this really awesome old lady who leads the tribe called the Northumbra tribe. We get two characters, a guy and a girl, who are roughly Anna and Elsa's age from the Northumbra tribe, and the girl is voiced by my favorite character from Happy Death Day. So you've got all these great new additions to the cast, and when all is said and done, these folks really didn't contribute anything to the story. They were just there. They were just there occupying space in the woods while Elsa and Anna and all the main characters did their thing. That's fine. I'd rather focus on our core group of heroes rather than focus on new people, but they became kind of irrelevant, and it was a shame because they all seemed like they were supposed to be something more important than that. Let's talk about the music now. The music was a little bit underwhelming too. The songs were all there. There were a lot of songs this time, and they were good, but there was nothing, no real catchy beats going on like you have in Frozen 1. You don't get those catchy tunes. They just kind of come and they go, and you already kind of forget how they go. They are better songs than I could ever write, because writing music is freaking hard, and I have nothing but respect for people who are songwriters. They're just not the catchiest tunes. Like, I can't picture any kids wanting to re-sing these songs. With one exception, and that is the big YOLO song of the film, Into the Unknown. What's kind of funny is it's almost like the movie and the people responsible for the movie understand how out of control Let It Go became, and how every child everywhere was singing Let It Go and driving their parents nuts. So I feel like they wanted to throw the parents a bone, so they wrote a song that really is physically impossible to sing unless you're Idina Menzel. Because when you hear Into the Unknown, you're like, this song is cool, I like it, I can see how this is going to be the breakout song of this movie. But then once you get to the chorus, you're like, oh, I cannot sing along to this. You need a special pair of pipes for this. And as you can tell, my pipes are not in great working order today as it is. Even if I was on peak form, I could not bust out a rendition of Into the Unknown right now because I am not the talented Adele Dazeem, okay? I can't pull that off. So it's like Disney was like, okay, parents, your kids are not going to be singing this new song, don't worry, because they physically cannot. Unless your child is Idina Menzel, you'll be fine. Kristoff does have a cool song, though, where it's like an 80s love power ballad, and the song itself is nothing too special, but the way they film it, it looks like an 80s music video, so it was kind of funny. I enjoyed that. But now I'm going to have to put up a spoiler warning because for my final piece of criticism here, I really need to talk about how the movie ended and shaped up here. Okay, you've been warned. So Elsa and Anna's parents met in the Enchanted Forest when they were young. Their mother was the spirit of magic that lives way, way up in the north, and she saved the prince's life. They got married, had babies. And the spirits were all based off elements, so their mother is basically Lilu. Their mother is the fifth element. And because their mother is the fifth element, Elsa was born with magic powers. Anna still was not. I don't know why. I guess that doesn't matter in this film. After the tragedy that happened in Frozen 1 where she almost kills her sister and Elsa is all freaked out, her parents leave because they want to figure out Elsa's powers. Even though the mom already knows she's the fifth element, so she knows exactly what the deal is with the powers, or at least she probably has a pretty good idea. So they end up getting capsized, their boat sinks, they die. But what were they going to the north to do? I don't know. Maybe she felt that by leaving that frozen island, the mother was bringing everything out of balance, but then it was the dam that was bringing everything out of balance because the old king built a dam. Destroying the dam allowed the magic to break forth, so the spell was broken and the Enchanted Forest was visible again and you could escape it. But even though the dam's broken, Elsa still stays because she feels like that's where she belongs, in this forest full of strangers who we really don't see her make any connection with at all throughout the movie because she's always running off on her own. This story is kind of a mess, guys. In terms of emotional beats and the visuals of the animation, though, Frozen 2 absolutely kicks ass. It hits the right emotional moments, it hits the right, wow, look how good our animators are moments, it hits all of those pieces really, really well. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that if this was a silent film with no dialogue and no singing, and it was just music and animation and the emotions of the characters, it would be a really cool sort of experimental feature. Because when Elsa gets to the source of the magic powers on this island way off in the middle of the north, what she finds there can only be described as really trippy, man. And the Disney animators really do a good job of breaking all the rules of sort of gravity and physics and just saying, nah, here's this cave where anything is going to happen because it's just pure magic everywhere. So there's plenty of good to be had in that regard. And if you're an animation lover, I implore you to just go watch this for that alone because there is no way you are not going to be impressed. So should you take your kids to see this movie? Yes, as long as you understand, and as long as they understand that it's not going to be another Disney fairy tale. It's going to be an action-adventure with a really weird, nonsensical plot and decent songs. If your kids have been growing up these past 6 years idolizing Anna and Elsa, they will definitely love Frozen 2 because as badass and awesome as Elsa was in Frozen 1, she's even more so in Frozen 2. Elsa's a freaking superhero. So if she is the hero of any of your children, take them to see this. They're gonna love her even more. But that is Frozen 2. That's been thumbed together. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you all here next time. And until then, adios.